I believe you.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm co-host Tom Leffler, and this is
Adedire.
Today we're going to talk about leisure activities that we enjoy. Most of this podcast we've spoke about like leveling up, like relationships, faith, all that stuff. But now it's a little lighter, like just say like, what do you enjoy doing in your pastime, or it could even be like some people enjoy work, for example. But start off like. Yeah, some people enjoy that process.
No, I'm just joking. I had to laugh because it's just funny that you said some people enjoy work. So yeah, that's interesting. So I think what's fair, I still need to gather a couple of my thoughts. You start off with the leisure activities because I can't with the work. That's hilarious.
Because technically this is work.
Yeah,
this is right?
Is it though? This is leisure, I think. But okay.
But what's the definition of work?
Okay, that's true. Okay.
You know, what would someone define as work?
Well, I guess it would be a blessing to love your work, right?
Yes.
It's funny that because I didn't even consider this work. That's why I had such a visceral response.
I think going to the blessing part, I think it is some people, not necessarily all the time, and people are like, oh, I want to love what I do and all that. And I think if you can, that's amazing. But sometimes it's just not feasible.
Yeah,
or
true.
like you might love things and you might not, and like they might not be able to earn any money. But I also believe in today's day and age, like you can maybe find a way to do something that you love and make money from it.
To monetize your passion or monetize leisure.
But at the same time, with that being said, so say for example, if you love collecting Pokemon cards and you make a business collecting Pokemon cards, you'll love collecting Pokemon cards, but you might not love the process of taking the pictures of Pokemon cards, setting up your QuickBooks account to collect revenue, to like, advertising. You might not enjoy the back end side of, because like at the end of the day, running a business is running a business. So people like, they fantasize the idea of like, I'm going to start my passion project and run this business.
Yes.
But then I've realized like, even though like you might love Pokemon cards and you love like being a gym, like working out,
takes it
at the same time, like it's still a business at the end of the day. Like you still have to do accounting, you still have to do, if you have people working for you, you still have to do the HR things, you still have to file the taxes, you still have to do like all that back end stuff if it's a business, regardless if you love it or not.
100%.
I do think it definitely, if you like have a passion, you think like I'm helping people or whatever, that could help propel you further. But people, I think they think
it's just like it's really just so easy because it's what they wanted to do all along. So what you're alluding to is the fact that if you are passionate about something, but now that thing that you're passionate about, you're trying to monetize it, there's a certain level of responsibility, discipline that's needed for that thing to be lucrative, that may take away from the love or make there a little bit more friction with how enjoyable that very thing is. But would you say that someone who's would you say someone who has certain qualities though, it wouldn't be as bad? Like if someone has like certain baselines of discipline or a background, would that ease the kind of like how difficult, or would it ease maybe some of the unfun parts about like monetizing your passion?
So you're saying like in respect to like starting a business, like what are the qualities that are probably like good attributes
that someone already has, or to your point, working to build?
I think it's someone who definitely likes to be independent, doesn't like being told what to do, can discipline and parent themselves. I think that is probably the most important attribute. If you want to like run your own business or like your own passion project, you have to be able to be your own parent, boss, hype man, everything. Like you got to really be like you could get it done, because otherwise you could go your whole day, a week, a month and
not getting anything.
Like, I'll do that tomorrow, and then nothing happens. Versus some people do better with like, hey, I have like a boss, I have a set thing I have to do, and it has to get done. The other thing I would say, someone who is willing to like delay gratification is very important. To be able to work alone and be alone for a while, not need a team right away. I mean, if you're blessed and you have people who start a business right away, that is huge. But more than likely you're alone, especially if like you're just starting, like you're running the business yourself. You might have people working underneath you, but you have to be comfortable like being in the trenches alone, people not understanding your stress. Like it's a very isolating at sometimes. It doesn't have to be, as I realize now, but it is, especially early on, isolating until you like show some sort of success. and you really got to believe and trust in yourself that it will work out.
Yeah.
Because might go days, months, weeks, years before you actually see any return on it.
Yeah.
So you really have to have like complete utter faith in yourself that it will work out.
Yeah.
But again, it's not for everybody.
Of course.
And also, people think, oh, like having your own business, whatever, it's a beautiful thing. Like I can set my own hours, do my own thing. But more realistic, especially early on, you're going to be working a lot more than someone who has a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
That's
like,
what it is, yeah.
I mean, I do believe that
at
get
one
to a point,
of course.
a couple of years down the line.
But
like,
that's not an immediate thing.
100%. Especially if you're, and also the stress of, like you're in total, it's like a good and bad thing, but you're in total control of your destiny.
Yeah.
Where like, hey, it's a good or bad thing, because if you're making no money, then it's all on you.
Yeah.
If you're making money, then it's all. So it's like a pro and con, but you are in total control of what you put in and what you get out of it. It's like it's all up to you. So,
but then there's also more exposure to external factors as well. So like the very nature of a business is that it's lucrative when people are either buying your service or product. So in times of economic uncertainty, although you may be well intentioned and doing everything you need to do, the demand for your service or product may go down, which may affect you in a way more directly than maybe an employee would as well in some instances, right? Or
well, again, it's all relative. I think, if you work for a big company, they could like
downsize and stuff.
They could downsize, and they're like,
or they have even a buffer.
They're protected a little bit. Yeah, they have like these like like big, for example, I don't know,
big,
like a Google or somewhere. Like they've survived all these like recessions and stuff, so they have a little bit of a buffer. But there is downsizing. So I've realized people like, oh, like I could lose, the business could go under, or you could lose a job. I mean, risk is relative. I think it's all risky, and it depends on what your risk tolerance, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah.
So I think like even again, you could have the best job, like doing a great job, everything's going well. Then again, either you get kind of replaced by AI, or they just have an economic downturn or whatever have you, or your business. You could be, have a great product, everything going well, and just stuff happens. Like it could be external factors, it could be weather, it could be just like things happen. Murphy's Law, anything that can happen will happen.
Chaos, man.
And it's true. Things, unforeseen things, but that's life also.
Yeah.
A business is so similar to life as I see it.
Yeah.
It's just so many parallels because.
Well, our job is in many cases theoretical. Because you show up, you punch out. Some days you don't even do anything, but they assume you did. Or it's already calculated that you put in work that day.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. So do you think everyone has the propensity to go into business of their own?
To run their own business?
To run their own business. And why do you say that?
I say that because I think a lot of people just don't have the desire, the self, I guess like discipline, self-motivation. And they don't want that like burden.
Yeah.
I really think that some people, they like the fact that, hey, it's 5 o'clock, I don't have to worry about anything, or weekends, I don't have to worry about anything.
Laptop closed.
And I think that's like a beautiful thing. Like, it could really be
that you can be even okay with that.
Yeah.
Because you feel like there's like also the other side of that with an entrepreneur can't live with that kind of life. Like they don't even have the ability to just be like to have that same mindset.
I envy it, honestly, at a point. It's like, because it is a sickness, I realize a little bit. Like, but I envy that. I'm like, I think that's a beautiful thing.
Shut it off.
To just like shut off, like, hey, like when I leave work, I leave work. And I think that's something even now in my like being an entrepreneur, it's something I'm working on. It never really shuts off, but like it's like being able to be present. I think that's what comes down to. Is like, hey, I'm with AD right now. I'm here. I'm not thinking about all the problems with leftover pools or polyfuel. Like I'm here. And that's something, especially it's going to be challenging. I'm aware of it as my season picks up. I want to be, when I'm somewhere, I want to be there. I don't want to be half there. And that's something in the past I like be disassociative, just like I'd be half places or like not really there because I'm like thinking about all the stuff I have to do later or tomorrow or whatever. So I do envy that, but I do think it's a skill for anyone to have, even a business owner, to be able to be truly present. And also it comes down to being a good business owner and efficient where it's not chaotic.
Yeah.
like that's something where I think it's like the goal is to get to where it's not chaotic.
Yeah.
So like you have like people, systems in place where you could sit and meet somebody for a conversation for an hour and not be stressed if like you don't answer your phone or look at your phone.
Got
I
it.
think that's a goal of mine, is to be peak season of pools, and I could be like, hey, I want to meet. We talked about this, like step away for an hour. I want to meet AD 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Wednesday for coffee, and I
have the infrastructure in place that's not going to be something that causes unnecessary anxiety or stress.
100%.
I wanted to look up a definition real quick. Finish your thought. Yeah. I just want to look something up real quick.
Yeah, because actually one guy who I follow, I think it's I probably gonna butcher his last name, but Bedros Cooligan.
Okay.
And he again, I was part of this men's group, and I was fortunate enough to be around like just savage human beings, like in the sense of like multimillionaires, but able to be so present. And that was the first time my paradigm shift of like, it's possible to be super financially well off
and be present
and have like
still have discipline, still not be lackadaisical,
being great physical mental
health,
which I think is even more important than physical health, is like being able to be present,
still having drive in life, like still having a purpose to live as well.
Because the guy said like, yeah, like I had lunch with Bedros the other day. This guy's like probably worth 100, maybe $500 million at least. And he's like, yeah, we had coffee, 2 or 3 hours. He didn't look at his phone once. Probably the most busy guy,
of
quote
course,
unquote, but
he was his phone,
on a normal afternoon was able to be so present because he built the infrastructure. He had the teams, he had the people, he had the systems where he knows if he doesn't look at his phone for 2 or 3 hours, everything's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's a great goal to get as a business owner. But the tough part is it sounds good, and that's the dream. Like
there's a lot of time and effort that goes into that.
It's
also you have to go against your nature, right? Because you mentioned that a lot of the people that you envy, they have to go against their nature too. So there's this paradigm where someone is like inclined to work more, but then someone also prefers not to work, do the absolute least. So obviously the person who is inclined to work more in an entrepreneurial setting will survive. But the only issue is the longevity now, because it's like, is that sustainable for relationships? Is that sustainable for their health? Is that sustainable for the long run? Like, what toll on their bodies are taking? Likewise, someone who isn't putting enough effort, it's, although they may have relationships, those also could be privy to danger as well, because it's like, to a certain degree, that same lack of discipline they're going to put into their relationships, they're going to be put into their friendship. So it's like literally finding the middle mark where you have the drive to work when you need to, but not also be overcome with it, that you can stop and focus on what you're doing. What I was looking up actually, and I wanted to kind of spend time on this because you mentioned that we'll be talking about leisure. Webster Dictionary defines leisure as freedom from occupation or business, vacant time, and time free from employment. So like, what is the meaning of leisure to you? Like based on that, like
I honestly, something that I've kind of realized, like that's not. I mean, I do agree with that. That's leisure, but I also, my new interpretation of leisure, or like something I enjoy doing is like actually, like this, working with like people, like building out, like or talk about ideas and stuff like that. Like, I guess my leisure, it's like not work.
No, just go, keep going.
It's interesting. It's like I've consciously now tried to find ways to tie my leisure into a brand or work setting. Like, okay, leisure for me is working out. I love lifting.
That's fair.
But now I'm videotaping myself working out, and I'm posting on Instagram for the end goal of building my brand to help promote like the podcast, help promote Leffler Pools, help promote Apollo Fuel. So I'm tying my leisure to my brand / businesses. So I also, leisure for me is like pickleball. Leisure for me is just having like being around like-minded, like good people.
Of course.
But it's also funny because that leisure with like the people, and I surround myself with again certain people, it leads to I find like business ideas or connections with people. So that leisure actually turns into, I think, financial or
it could be lucrative. So even the way that the leisure trickles into financial, like being lucrative, do you feel like you're getting rest? Like, do you, outside of the monetary benefit of the leisure, like, do you actually find benefit in it outside of it monetarily? Like, what changes have you seen? Like outside of like making leisure more effective, like in terms of like, again,
Yeah, like
trying to replace like your like what your main source of income is, so that you're get earning off of like your leisure. What are some other benefits from that, and like why is it worth the sacrifice that you're making in order to do that?
for me, I think it's like mental health. Like
Yeah.
again, just talking with people. We are such social beings,
Yes.
and I for so long was like lone wolf mentality.
Yeah.
Like, don't need anybody, and that led me the most miserable.
Yeah.
And like I am a people person. I love
Yes.
like being around good people, good energy. So I just know the mental benefit of that is
Yeah.
like it's profound, and like that translates then into work and stuff. So I think beyond the like just financial or just like talking about ideas and stuff, I think just being around people, feeding off the energy, getting the like the all the different chemicals that we need besides just like texting or on the phone.
Yeah.
And it's just like things to look forward to.
Yeah.
And I was like, I look forward to our Sunday morning podcast. I look forward to hanging out with like my friends. Like I look forward to like lifting together, like stuff like that. I think that's so important when the chaos of life or family or business, like all that stuff. It's like good to have stuff that like grounds you. It's like, hey, I know at least for an hour and a half, 2 hours a week, I'm gonna be here with AD. We're gonna talk. We're gonna be present. We're gonna like laugh. We're gonna joke. We might cry. Like it's gonna be like it's gonna be real and raw. But it's like something to like bring me back to reality, like what really matters.
Yes.
And that I think is like faith, family, friendship, connection. Because you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have those things, I think you'll be a very miserable person.
Yeah, no, definitely. Another question I wanted to ask you is, when you consider like Tom in the future, Tom that has a daughter, and like, just in the future, like, what do you think his leisure is like?
I think leisure at that point is going to be family time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be that's something I'm like very conscious. I want to be a very present father. And present husband to my future wife. So I think that for me, leisure might not be, playing pickleball or hanging out with friends as much per se. It might just be like, hey, when I come home from work or in the morning before work, or even again blessed to have the freedom, like even if it's like before my kids are in school, it's like, hey, just like middle of the day, just like taking that time and just like playing with my kids or just being present with my wife. I think that's going to be leisure time. And actually an interesting concept that I've been thinking about is instead of work-life balance, work-life integration.
Okay, so talk to me. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, because like especially as an entrepreneur, I think that's something that I struggled with a while was like work-life balance.
Yeah.
And I realized like I was getting frustrated. I'm like, I have no work-life balance. Like, what's this work-life balance thing you speak of? Like, like everyone's like, I mean, in the past, like people criticize me, like like you have no balance, you have no work-life balance, and then. Tony Robbins actually spoke about this. He's like, on his last like free seminar I did, he's like, because again, he speaks a lot to like entrepreneurs. And he's like people, there's really no work-life balance as an entrepreneur. It's like work-life integration. And I'm like, it's like a switch, because like I was always like, balance, like work-life balance. Like, what does that look like for me? Like what is that? And it's like, because at times there is no balance.
Yeah.
There isn't. But it's like, how do I incorporate or integrate like my life, like family life, friends,
the day-to-day bustle and uncertainty or unforeseen things that comes up with the business that always happen. Like it's unforeseen things that are constantly happening.
It's not if, it's just when.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff. And like even with like other friendships, like I brought my one friend into like he's like now working for me as HR guy. So like okay. We were friends, and like our friendship's now grown because like we're working together. So it's like
it's nice
integration,
and he's been good, right?
He's been outstanding, like, and so like that's like the thing. It's like okay, we wouldn't talk as much because I would be working, but now it's like
crazy.
Hey, he's coming in,
integrated into
it. So that's where it's like, oh my, I see him seeing for the first time like that.
But you vetted him before bringing him on because you know how like dangerous that like as well.
I know, because I've had a lot of people interested before, and like I really thought about.
You're like, is this gonna be a good? So could you talk through that process, like going into business with friends and stuff like that, and like what your thought process is, and how's a good way for someone to go about it, not only to protect the friendship but even to protect themselves,
Yeah. I've never gone into business with friends before. Wow. This is going to be the first time.
Wow.
I purposely never have, because I've seen like other
Negative.
just outside perspective of like situations, like
Gets
people
really
like,
hairy.
that are like best friends,
Yeah.
like now they don't even talk.
And they're
like,
enemies, like literally.
yeah, my
enemies.
dad had experience, like he went in with a friend on like a real estate
that's-
venture, and like they don't talk anymore.
The friend like screw him over or something, or
That's not gonna
okay,
get into it. Yeah.
I get into it,
Yeah.
but it just was not good.
But they were like best friends,
That's
and now they don't
crazy.
even talk anymore.
That's crazy.
So I saw like early
So
on.
you see, would you say that it shows? It really tells you a lot about the person, because now it's like, okay,
It's like being in a marriage.
we're in this thing, and then it's like, wait, like
It's
you
a
said
marriage.
you were gonna do this, but you clearly did it. Like
It's
you
a
know.
marriage. I think it's like, again, I think it's a different type of like
Yeah.
relationship. Like
But it is a serious relationship, because it's like
money. It's emotion,
livelihood, time, consist. Yeah.
yeah.
And you have to be honest. Like it's like kind of like our Sundays. It's like, if you ask me like, hey man, you wanna should we show up this Sunday? And I'm like, oh man, I'm not available. And I do that 6 times in a row. It's like, well, that's not what we signed up for, and it's different when it's like something is literally happening.
like an extraneous circumstance.
and we
yeah.
literally play, and there's ways to go about it. It's like,
And-
oh, let's see
and we've
on
done that
Thursday,
before.
Wednesday,
Yeah,
yeah.
we've done that, yeah.
But it's like, to your point, it's like I think it shows a lot about someone's commitment to something and whether or not they are who they really say they are. And I also think another thing that's interesting about business or any type of relationship, there's always somebody that's more serious about something. So, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. It's a bad thing when the other person does not care at all. Because then it's like you're doing a group project and the other person just shows up on the day of the presentation, which is like a very, tough situation to be in. Because then interesting enough, the person who doesn't do anything, they're the one who's fighting over the better grade. They're like, no, we should have got A+. Like, why are we getting A- on this and something like that? So I think going into business with friends are like very, very scary in that point. But then I think there could be a way that someone could ease into it, like to really, like test, yeah, without necessarily.
Yeah, I did little tests.
Without necessarily having to like go fully into it and risk the friendship.
And I think that's where a lot of people fail. It's like, hey, like we're best friends, we get along well, we hang out together, all that.
Don't jump.
Because honestly, this
Slowly.
person, like we weren't. I think we were friendly, but we weren't boys, like best friends, like that. So that's something I've seen or have heard stories of people like best friends and they don't talk anymore. Yeah. And like I've seen it with my father, and I've seen it with other friends like that. They went with their best friends and they. Yeah. So that's why I've never done it before. But this is cool. It's like in a sense like. I guess our friendship is building. Yeah, because the level of trust as well. Because then there's certain parts where he's looking out for your blind spots. So it's like, it's like, yo, bro, I trust that, you're watching my 6 in a sense, Mm-hmm. So. And it's also
his livelihood, because he had to stop whatever he's doing to hop on the bandwagon as well.
Yeah, but it's also having faith. Yeah. But I think it's like not something to consider lightly.
Yeah, it's very serious, very, very serious. Even on your part, there's added responsibility on your plate now too, because you're like, oh snap, like I've now taken on, his livelihood under the company's canopy. So on top of thinking of the other employees, now you also have to think of him as well. Like, so it's like he still has rent, mortgage or whatever, car note, whatever, bills or whatever. It's like, like I literally need to make sure that I do what I need to do so that he's not. So it's two-sided as well. So it's not only on his side too. So it's really, as you really think about it, it's like, oh snap, like this is like a big decision. So
yeah, and I think it's not something people should take lightly.
I should not.
But I would caution people from like if you're like best friends.
Yeah.
I would definitely really consider that because it can ruin a friendship.
I agree.
And honestly, it might not be. Like, yeah, you're friends, you might get along well, but you might not work together. I think
even spouses, like husband and wife, I think it's like the same thing too. Like you've heard situations of husband and wife going into business and it's not good at all. It's like terrible.
I mean,
the employees are like second rate because one spouse or partner is like spending recklessly. It's like putting everyone else in jeopardy. Like
it's a weird thing. It's a totally
different type of relationship.
It's a different type of relationship.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So I think it's very important to look at, I guess, you gotta look at each relationship differently. You're gonna be, okay, you want a work or business relationship with somebody, okay, that's, there's attributes from that also, you want to be friends with that person, so there's attributes from there, but it's different things you look out for. Okay, is this person frugal? Because like if you're best friends with somebody,
True.
and they like spend recklessly, I mean that doesn't really impact you per se.
Yeah. But then when
But
you're
if
in
a
business,
business-
you take that into account because it's like, well, that's my profit margin right there. You know, like this person doesn't really think, like, you know, if we need something for the business, is this person going to do their due diligence to make sure that we're getting fair value for this equipment?
I was like, yeah,
and just show up there like, I like this guy. Yeah, I'm just gonna buy it. It's like, dude, you bought it $10,000 over market. You know,
and that's why I bring AD to negotiate.
Yeah, I tend to be very, very prudent with stuff like that because I don't know. I think about that a lot because I guess part of it is just me prepping for when I go into my own kind of business thing, but just thinking in general.
Can we explore that a little bit? What?
Oh yeah, I have one more question before we explore that for you. You know, people who are on the fence. So, do you have people in your life where you notice that are on the fence, or you see that they have attributes to potentially go into business? It could be even their very job is a commission-based job, and it's like you notice like they're so close, but it's like, you know, you're trying to figure out. Not figure out.
On the fence in their sense of like them doing their own business.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. And what advice do you have for people like that?
So this is a very it's a very tough situation because like I personally love anybody. I don't care what it is. If you're passionate about it and you want to like create a business and go for it, like I'll be your cheerleader. I think that's 100%. Amazing. I'm like, hey, go for it. Like it could be like I love, you know, selling socks. Yeah. And you're passionate about it?
That's crazy.
Well,
people there's actually
and everyone else like, what, you're selling socks? But like, no, go for it. Who cares? If you enjoy it, like I'm like, go all in. Like I love seeing people go in and like risk it and go for it. Like
it's tough.
But on the other side is me as like just what I know what it takes. Like I'm like, part of me is like, if they ask, like I never tell them what I know. I'll never tell somebody like, hey, go for, like you should like I think you should start a business or this. But if they come to me like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this and like I want to do it. I'm like, I'm gonna go for it. I'm like, I'm a cheerleader. I'm supportive. I'll never tell somebody like, I'm thinking about doing this. Like I kind of want to do it. I'm like, and like they're almost looking for me to say like, do it. Like go all in. I won't be the one to like initiate or like give advice on to start a business. Yeah. But I'll be there to support them and like
on their way.
I'll be like, hey, I'll be your cheerleader. I'll support you. Any questions you have, all that. Yeah. But I don't want to be the person that's like, hey, you're great. Like you're great at making socks. You should start a business.
100%.
Because I know what it takes to do that, and I don't think it's a lot of people cut out for it. Yeah. And honestly, still is the most challenging thing I've experienced. Is like trying to run a business, manage a business, like all that. It's the most rewarding, also the most stressful, and it's tough. Yeah. And no one can make that decision of whether I start or not besides you, because you have to be all in. There's no
100%.
No half-ass in it. You can't second guess yourself. You'll be like, I'm doing this. I'm gonna figure it out. And if you have that, like if you believe in that enough, I think you should do it. But if someone's on the fence, I'm never gonna be like,
man, that's dangerous, man.
Yeah,
that's like sending a spacecraft into space and you haven't done all your security clearance checks 100 times because like it could be just one dent in the fuselage, that thing explodes. Or I think a business is like going into outer space and not knowing how much oxygen you have in your tanks, but just still being like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna go out there and.
Because if you knew what it would really take, you wouldn't go.
You would, yeah. Or you first of all, you don't know how much you're gonna take. You also don't know how long you're gonna have to hold your breath as well, because there's a lot of things in the way. Yeah. It's very difficult. It's a very difficult endeavor.
But I also think if you're
strong-willed and you do put your mind to it, it can be the best thing that you've ever done in your life as well.
And you're learning. And that the cool thing is whether my experience is like whether it works or it doesn't, you're gonna learn so much about yourself. Yeah. And the coolest thing is, my opinion is like you bet on you. There's no other bet out there.
Literally.
Like because you might look back in like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, like 4 years. I wish I'd done that.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna think like that, then just do it.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
And that's what
time's just gonna keep flying by faster and faster and faster. So you might as well just make a decision.
Yep.
But certain people have to have certain infrastructure and stuff like that too, because some people think like, oh, I need to have this much of that one. That's not true.
No.
Because it's like no matter how much you think you save, you don't know how long it's gonna take for your business to be profitable.
No, that's the thing. It's risky, and it's going to be risky. But I value somebody who's in the arena, like going for it, taking a risk, because people on the outside are gonna be like,
You're crazy.
you're
Why'd you
crazy,
do that?
stupid,
Yeah.
like that's a bad idea.
You left certainty for uncertainty.
You left a good job, like you're gonna hear all that.
Yeah.
But that's why I respect so much people like they're in the arena, they're doing it, and I'll never be one to like, oh, that was a bad idea, like you're not gonna make it. Like, no, like they took the risk.
Yeah, they're putting it on.
And I think you'll realize like people that like have taken risks before and like are doing the thing, they kind of like root for you.
Yeah.
Like versus people that never took a risk or
like, they'll be against you because you're like you're the epitome of what they're not.
Yeah. And so that's why I respect anybody who goes for it. I think that's a beautiful thing. And I just think some people, you gotta like look at your life, I guess, and say, will I regret this 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years if I didn't take this risk? Or if it's like, I won't regret it. I mean, I kind of want to do it, but I don't think I'll regret it. Then it's not for you. I think you gotta really look back and like, if you can fast forward and be like, 40, 50 years, like, I wish I did that thing.
Yeah.
And I think if that's going to be you, then go for it.
100%.
But again, going into something we talked about before, when you start thinking of the how.
Yeah. That's where a lot of question marks start to pop up. It's like, wait, how? Where is this going to come from?
Because if you asked me
7 years ago.
No, even just 13 months ago about this jerky business, when I had that idea, like the 13 months ago, I would, if you asked me 13 months ago, if I like I thought 13 months ago, I thought I had my package, I have the website, I thought I'd be selling it by now. Like I thought I'd have all this in line. Like I thought everything would be figured out.
You did,
But I just, along the way, it's just like you learn, you fail, you learn.
Kink over.
And it's just like, wow, if I knew what I knew, when I came up with this idea.
It's so much more clean and efficient.
And
you already had a business before too, which is the crazy part.
Yeah.
But it's a different arena,
Totally different.
It's like like a different spaceship and then no oxygen environment.
Totally different.
Because like everything is trying to kill your business. That's another thing too, right? So it's like you're literally just dropping something in the most inhabitable area, and you just gotta watch if it's gonna live.
Yeah.
Right?
It's crazy what comes things like our mango supply, like my mango supplier, like
just pulled out.
Well, it's just not pulled out. They can't they can't fulfill our needs for it. So it's like, okay, I thought that was a sure thing. Like I had the price set, all this, and now it's like, okay, well, I thought this was it, and it's like, so now it's just like course adjusting. Wow. Like I remember I was like walking when I like found this out, and I was like, I went for a walk, and I'm like, this is the stuff that like it's like
why no one can survive it.
It's just like I exactly know why this is why it's hard. Like if it was easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's like I'm a kind of sadistic, so I'm like finding joy. I'm like, oh, this is great. This is the stuff
that's exactly why no one can do this.
This is exactly what happens. Is so like as those things come up, like, and I'm aware of them, it's like, oh, okay, this is the speed bump, this is the hurdle, this is the setback.
Yes.
But having that faith and trust in
of course, and there's so much other mango suppliers out there, right?
Yeah, and I think it might work out better.
Yeah, exactly. Now you get price higher.
Yeah. So hopefully I got shipped. He's shipping it. Great guy.
Yeah.
So it's cheaper actually. So hopefully it works
crazy.
out. So it's just like
it works out actually for.
But if I was just like, like this is it, it's done, it's
up.
over.
Yeah.
It's over.
I have too much on my plate right now.
I can't do this.
I can't. I literally can't.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is you have to be able to overcome adversity and just be like, keep getting hit, and that's life too, though.
It is, man. It is, and it's like also at the end of the day, like if you consider it, it's like, all right, your supplier can do it. Get over yourself. It's like move on to find someone who is willing to.
Accept it.
Because it's like, okay, there's no really timeline for this thing to roll out per se, but it's like if you allow that to derail you, now the uncertain rollout of this product is even more uncertain. It's like you need to get over the speed hump in order to increase the probability of this thing being rolled out. Mm-hmm. It's like it's definitely not going to survive if you don't get over the speed bump. You're definitely not going to get to the phase to understand what speed bumps can be in front of you, even in the sale of this thing. Because you know there's going to be speed bumps in the sale of this thing. You're not just going to roll it out and overnight 10 million people are going to buy this product. That's not possible. I mean, hey man, you may be lucky and you hit that, but like,
hey Joe Rogan, if you want to take it,
exactly, take it. But it's like you already know, like you need to get over this speed hump to get over the next speed hump to get over the next speed bump to then get to a smoother speed bump railway.
And that's the thing, I think, like, you made a great point there. I think people think starting a business is going to be smooth sailing. They think it's like, okay, I have a great product, I'm good at this, and like I'm just going to sell this, I'm going to make this much money this year. It's just going to be, the steady.
That's somebody who's not going to make it, bro.
The steady incline.
They're not going to make it because they put in way too much thought. They invested so much time in theory, and they didn't spend enough time in the practical arena of the day-to-day hustle bustle.
And that's where, like, okay, you think it's going to be a straight line, but really it's going to be, it might even go below.
It might even go below.
Do a circle.
Literally.
Do a twist.
Do a zigzag.
Woo!
Zigzag to negative infinity.
But that's the cool thing, and like I think that's what I realized. Like I enjoy about the business, but just besides like who I have to become, who I became because of it. I realized like I have to level up my speaking skills. I have to level up my intelligence. I have to level up my physical presence. I have to level up my mental strength.
Capacity for disappointment. Yeah.
Capacity for stress. Like all these things, I have to become the best version of myself. And actually, I was talking with a buddy the other day. Like the cool thing is like, it's also a lot of responsibility. And Dr. Jordan Peterson talks about this. But like the more responsibility you have, like I realize I show up more. So like that's why like I don't like get really party or drink anymore because like I can't afford to be hungover.
Literally, bro.
I can't afford to be hungover.
Literally, bro.
I don't like. I'm always like in physical like shape. I eat food that makes me energized. So things I can't afford to like eat something throughout the day and be like exhausted, want to take a nap because I have to be on.
You have to be on.
And like like my physical presence, like like people say like what looks really like they don't matter, but if you're selling a product, like you walk into a room office and like
you want to occupy that space and you want them to be like, well, you know what? This resume, which is your body, is good. Like, like this person, he probably has some discipline in his life.
But he's smiling. He's like upbeat. He's not like walking in like, hey, can't make eye contact. It's like,
true.
It's just, there's so many.
You have a presence about you that gives off like this person is competent. This person knows what they're talking about.
And like that comes also to like the, I guess, keeping promises yourself, like going to the gym, 100%. Eating the right foods, like sleeping at the right time, like doing all the things. Because if you don't do those things, like
you won't be able to show up in that very way. So going back to leisure, like, obviously going into a busy season that you have right now, in lieu of the business that you're starting and stuff like that, like, do you feel like leisure is something that you have to prioritize, or is it something that's just, just kind of left to whatever it's available kind of thing? Are you like, okay, you know what? Everything right now is just looking like gibberish in front of me. Take a step away from this. So, in other words, is your leisure proactive or is it reactive right now?
Honestly, in the past, it's always reactive. Like they're all like either I just was like, we're doing no leisure for this time and like accepting that, which I've done in the past, which I don't want to do again.
Yes.
So it can't be reactive, and it also I don't want to be no leisure. So it's being proactive about it, and like that's where it's like, okay, Sunday mornings probably moving forward, we're gonna schedule this morning podcast, no matter what's going on. Like we'll figure out a time that it's either morning or evening, like before, like during the season, the chaos. Like so, it's being proactive about it. And it's like, okay, safeguarding like a time like I set for also my mornings, like that's like my time I set for the gym, like whatever I wake up earlier, and then maybe setting a time like if I have like once a week just for myself, whether it's like doing yoga, massage, like something like that. So that's something I definitely want to be is more proactive. Because I think same to you. Like when you're busy, like you have a family, you have a wife and kids, like you can't be reactive to your leisure, especially when you go back to work.
100%.
Like and your wife's working, like
wild. It's gonna be wild.
You have to be like, okay, I have to time management, budget my time. It's like, okay, I have to be proactive. Like what time can I?
This week, like how to your point, But I would even go further and be like, do you feel like it helps you to have like preset options? Like for example, for leisure. Something that will help me alleviate stress, something that gets my mind off of things, something that I can think and do, and then option 4, whatever is kind of put across me. In other words, that leisure time that you have set in place, is it possible that, there's an option like, okay, dude, like today I'm really stressed. I really don't want to think, but I also kind of want to like just let out like frustration. So you hit the heavy bag, or B, pickleball, C, go to the gym, and then D, it could be like range, shoot clays, like like just or golf, like, like literally have options set in place, and then the last one, the massage. So then, depending on the day, you have like options. Like, you don't even need to think that much. It's like, dude, all right, let me be honest with myself. I just had a bad call right now. One of my employees just like bailed out on me and just left the company unexpectedly. I don't know whether it's a massage or a boxing thing. So you know what? I'm gonna go for boxing and then just like let it all like just so that, because you also have to understand that like you're gonna have like reactions to these things. So it's like having predestined things that you like these are things that I like to do in my free time, but like rather than me going into work and being frustrated this whole day, let me just have an hour or 45 minutes to do this thing so that I can finish this day off strong, rest, and just have time to like come up with a game plan to overcome this thing. Because you're probably going to be thinking a lot clearer after, hitting the heavy bag or even passing out like on the massage table and waking up and being like looking at it with a new fresh pair of eyes, something like that. I don't know what it is for you.
No, but I think that's a great idea, because like I know what the things are, but I never really categorized them before. But I think that's great, because like what day was it? I think it was Friday. Yeah, Friday. Like it was just like busy day, but I had set a time like from 2 to 3 to play pickleball with friends. So, like I was like in the morning was all these calls,
the whole day,
all that, and then like the morning honestly was not great. Like I was just like I was just like hard to get myself going to do work. I was just like kind of going through motions. Like I was like just like dragging. Like I just like gotta do it. So I was like all this self-talk. I'm just like, but it was honestly miserable. Like I think true. It's like you're gonna do things that you don't want to do. You're not gonna want to do it, but you gotta do it anyway. Like, that's just the truth of it. It's like that was literally the epitome of that morning. From like 9 to about 1:30, I was doing everything I did not want to do, the exact opposite, but I did it anyway. Yeah. And I played pickleball from 2 to 3, and then after it reset me.
Cruising.
I was fine.
You're
and then
cruising.
From like 3 to 7, I was like I was like the next 4 hours, the same work. It was the work wasn't any different.
Cruising.
It was the same type of
you
work.
Were cruising,
but
bro.
The 4-hour block in the morning was miserable and awful. But then I played pickleball, got my endorphins running, like had fun, was like talking crap, like just escaping.
Cruising.
And then the next 4 hours, same type of work.
You're cruising.
It's like I could do this.
So
was like on momentum.
So talk to me the night before, on that Thursday night. What was it going to bed? I'm curious to see if we can maybe predict days like these ahead of time.
Thursday. What did I do Thursday? It was also like it was like doing, well, I honestly Thursday I've set plans to hang out with someone Thursday night, and I really shouldn't have. So like I was like kind of rushing Thursday morning to do like the work, and I didn't get to everything I wanted to.
Yeah, so then Friday was the
carryover of like I wrote down, I'd set things I want to do Thursday, and like I did some of them, but I scheduled to hang out with a friend on Thursday night, and I like
went over. And then it pushed you over.
It led into Friday.
You almost have to like on that Friday morning like do something in the morning. Like, did you go to gym Friday morning?
Yeah, I worked out.
But after the workout, you're still dragging though, right?
I was still dragging. Yeah, the workout actually. Yeah,
it took away from you.
Probably the workout, honestly, probably took
so
away
maybe days like
I did legs. I went pretty hard.
Maybe that mornings like that. Maybe you
like pickle would have been
do
better.
Pickleball in the morning.
Something that is stressful.
Hey, that's what I was trying to get
like,
to.
Legs is my hardest day of the week.
It might, because it 100% will be better for you to skip that in the morning. But maybe because you mentioned you're sadistic. Maybe that was good for you to do leg day. But I think maybe you should experiment. Doing like a pickleball that morning, change your plan, and then doing 100%. The leg day another day. Your legs aren't going to atrophy.
I would have felt so much better if I played pickleball. You're 100%, but again, just me and like I woke up like again Thursday like wasn't bad. It was good, but like I just didn't foresee that like things. This happens a lot with me. Like I assume like okay, I have a list of 10 things to do today. I'm like I could get through all of them today. Yeah. But that's never really realistic. Yeah. And then I put onto that like a 4-hour chunk hanging out with somebody, so like even less stuff got that done. Yeah. And so then. Friday, I didn't go to sleep that well. I went to sleep pretty late Thursday, woke up early Friday. Like my sadistic mindset's like, okay, we're hitting legs, and I woke up earlier because I had pickles, so I got to know how to get the stuff done. So it's just like again,
you just made it harder for yourself. Yeah,
so much harder. The best thing would have been like, hey, maybe sleep. Instead of wake up at 5:30, sleep to 6:30.
Play pickleball for 30 minutes or 45 minutes.
Or go for a walk or something, like clear your head.
Probably pickleball.
Pickleball. But
pickleball will probably be better. If you're taking a workout out, you want to do pickleball. Because then you can push yourself. You'd be like, yo, get a nice warm up in and just go after it at pickleball.
But you're so right, and but it's good though to be able to look back and like realize, okay,
Of course, there's ways to make that even a more effective process. Because there's no way that you're not going to not encounter a situation like this again.
oh, that's
I can 100% guarantee that you will encounter a situation
worse
like
than
this
that.
again.
That was nothing. That was
No,
meta.
but I'm saying like
Yeah.
you will encounter.
Oh,
No, I mean similar situation
this
where
week.
where a night bleeds over and then you know so.
Especially I'm trying to be more proactive in the relationships
100%.
and trying to hang out.
So
with
it
people.
will be better to actually just sleep in a little bit more, crush pickleball sesh, and then even the night before you could you sign up online or no? Or
So,
you just have to show up the day of.
well, the problem that was the other thing. So pickleball at my current gym, it's so hard to get on a court. So this person reserved a court on Friday, like a week before, and she like texted me like, "Hey, I have this court reserved." So I can't even sign up. So that's the problem.
That's tough. Yes.
So I can't just
you gotta find an escape too that's malleable enough
I can't
to do that. Kind of like the standby lifeguards that we talked about.
I can't just.
You gotta have to have a standby thing that you could just seriously.
Yeah.
Man,
And I think that's where like
Seriously.
pickleball right now is not feasible
to do that.
But on the weekends it is.
Yeah, of
because
course.
people there's like open courts outside.
Yeah,
the weather's nice, but like during the week it's not in the sense.
Feasible.
Yeah. So again, it's like finding like, okay, what thing can I call on last minute? And so it might be, okay, I can't play pickleball last minute, but I can, go for a walk outside with the dog, or I might get a road bike. I might
Yes,
ride
that's
a bike,
fantastic.
like do stuff like that.
Just be outside, sun hits you.
Dude, I don't know about you,
The
but
sun hits you. You know. And then
it's
you
so
come back in
crazy
the house and you're like,
how
oh,
much
yeah.
better
Yeah.
how mentally
It's
I am
great.
each
Yeah.
day when it's like, for example, yesterday was a crummy day
Yeah.
with like just weather.
Versus today. Yeah.
It's like crazy. Do you feel that? Am I just?
I mean, that's just how it is, bro.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
But I thought you appreciate the nicer days, I guess.
Yeah, of course, man.
But we got totally sidetracked.
Yeah.
AD, let's talk about you now, because I know, what are your leisure activities that you do?
Absolutely. So leisure would be, I don't know, praying, like, spending time, like, praying, and then it would be spending time, like, with friends would be leisure, because, obviously having a family and stuff is cool. Spending time with my dog, I have a dog, so.
Alpha.
Yeah, Alpha, so it's like, spend time with him, like, petting him and just, like, teaching him, like, tricks and stuff, like, obedience stuff, like, basic stuff like that. Because right now he's, like, a puppy, so it's very interesting kind of testing his capacity. He's still a puppy, so it's kind of frustrating at times, but it is good leisure, though, because it's nice 20 to 30 minute chunk of the day where I'm not kind of thinking of anything. Video games, so, like, I play a little bit of Call of Duty now. Like,
I didn't know that. I know you're playing Madden.
Yeah, I got into
Call of
Madden. Madden was like in the beginning of my paternity leave, but now I do Call of Duty maybe. Like,
Which one?
I don't know which one. I think it's like Call of Duty 2 or 3 or something. I don't know. It's just like basically just go online and
Is it Modern Warfare?
Yeah, Modern Warfare. I think what it is, Modern Warfare 2. Just go
Back
online.
to the Xbox 360 days in like high school.
Yeah, right. Crazy, right? So I just
That's
go. I go
dangerous.
online. And I just play like. I'll play 1 or 2 games. It takes like 15 minutes. So.
That's a
15 to 30 minutes, and then after that, I'm just like, all right, cool. I'm gonna just get back to it. Because some of the times, like yesterday night, I didn't know that it was available on my Xbox. Because Leke has a PS3 downstairs, so I like leveled up his profile because I was playing like a lot at one point. When my wife's mom-in-law was around, because I had a little bit more free time and stuff like that. So, but now it's like maybe once or twice a week because I tend not to like play that much. But I think what's gonna happen is in the next maybe month or two, I'm gonna start going to the range more frequently too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because I like to change it up a little bit because doing the same thing kind of gets kind of boring after a while. It becomes a chore. Also don't want to form an addiction to something. So I think what I'm gonna do is now I've been doing Call of Duty maybe once or twice a week for 30 minutes. And then, other days it'll be like the dog for 30 minutes, and then other days it'll be hanging out with friends or talking on the phone for 30 minutes. And then now it's gonna change to maybe going to the range, like throwing the range in there. Another thing I like to do for leisure is the gym as well. So like going to work out. One thing that I've been kind of thinking about, because I've been having like powerlifting type workouts. They take way too long. It's like 3 hours. So it's like cutting into family time. And now that my mother-in-law is not around, there's not that much help in the house for the baby. I don't think that's feasible for me to train that long. So I had to figure out how to condense my workouts without with avoiding injury. So it could just be respectfully just bowing out and maybe working out more days during the week, but just splitting out my workouts. So rather than doing the whole workout in like 3 hours, split it up. That's another leisure. What's another thing that I like to do? I'm trying to think of what else I like to do. Well, reading, obviously, that's pretty cool. Like just reading anything that I can kind of get across, in front of me. I think health and wellness has been area which I've been fascinated with right now. Just general, just nutrition stuff. Like reading about things that are going on in the world, like current events, like how like EV cars are actually not as good for the environment as not. And then finally, my leisure one that I just recently kind of tapped into again is negotiating for vehicles. So, my cousin Lake is purchasing a car. My uncle, we just finalized a deal for a car too. So all last week and the week before, I was just going back and forth. We're going to all different type of dealerships trying to get a good deal for him. So, a lot of times, I pride myself in getting, 10 to 15% below market value. Stealing, like steals, they call it steals. So like getting deals, like really good deals in terms of negotiating for vehicles. That's been pretty cool. Like, I don't know. I was sitting down there. I was like, man, this is so fun that I wish I could kind of like do this for work. Like just going to dealerships.
There definitely is. I mean, there's negotiation is such a huge factor in business.
It's so fun. Like I didn't realize how good I was till like, I keep hearing from my uncle or I hear them level up and the way they talk in dealerships. I'm like, wow, like I'm actually pretty good at negotiating. I didn't realize like that.
And that's kind of sales.
It is sales. It's 100%. You know, I'm like sales is my thing. So
that's what I'm saying.
That's what they kept saying.
Yeah,
like,
sorry to cut you off. I know like you're thinking about maybe doing a gym venture, training something. So I'm like, my light bulb goes off. Like, okay, like it's all you're doing is like training, nutrition programs, all that. Just selling yourself.
Literally.
But continue. I'm sorry.
It is just selling yourself. You're right. But you also have to be marketable. So it's like I've been thinking about that too. Do I want to be a fat trainer or do I want to be a trainer that's fit?
But again, it also goes to imposter syndrome because I was the same way.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have this physique when I was training people 3-4 years ago.
Wow.
And I felt like such an imposter.
Yeah.
And like it was so weird because like the tough part is like I was in the process. I knew I was in the process. Like I wasn't like, I was aware. I was like, hey, I'm not in the best shape, like, but I'm working on it. I'm doing a thing. But the imposter syndrome is such a real thing because like, and even now, if I start training people, I'll be like, oh, like where I could be a little more shredded, like I could be stronger. Like it never goes away. Yeah. But I think that's also good because it humbles you.
It does.
So I think that's not a bad thing to have because if you're just like cocky and like arrogant, I know everything. But I think again, going back to imposter syndrome. I think it actually could be reversed to a strength because people are like, okay, he's relatable. Yeah. Okay. He's aware. He's not saying like, hey, I'm in the best shape ever. My life. But look, hey, I'm down 40 pounds. I'm in process. I'm going to the gym. I'm eating right. I'm like on my journey and I'm vulnerable and I'm real with you that like, hey, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm on my way 100%. And I'm going there. And like, I'm not perfect. None of us are.
It's very difficult. But it's possible.
But I wouldn't let that hold you back because I really, it hindered me.
And it's cool too because it's something I can do with anything else that I'm doing because it doesn't really take a lot because there's always a lot of people kind of crying out for help and asking for advice on this. So it's kind of like feeling them out, right?
Yeah.
Because I would say 9 out of 10 people that complain about their weight or their health are not willing to do what it takes to actually get better. And then that one is, that's kind of like how you build your base, right? The person who, because accountability is for someone to give an account of what they're doing. Like, I'm not forcing, someone I'm working with right now that they're sending me their meals. I'm not forcing them to send it. I told them, like, hey, like, I want you to send me a picture of everything you eat. And there's some days that he doesn't even send me. And then the following day he's like, oh, here's all the pictures of what I ate yesterday. So it's like, he's giving himself accountable. And then every Thursday we have weigh-ins where he sends me his weight on the scale. I'm not looking at him at all. Like I haven't seen him for the past 3, 4, 5 weeks. His weight's going down, but it's like, he's making these changes and I'm in no way, shape or form a nutritionist and I'm not licensed to be a nutritionist, all that stuff. But based on my own like experience, it's like, he was like, yeah, man, like, cause right now he's only eating carbs like in the beginning of the day. Like he's having, cause he likes to eat muffins and rice and a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that. But he also doesn't want to do his macros. Like he doesn't want to count his macros. So I was like, all right, man, like I don't think it's feasible for you to go on a whole like non carb, like to cut carbs out completely. I think you should eat carbs before 12 or 1, and rest of the day just have ample amount of protein. Like have good amounts of chicken, good amounts of beef, good, like just eat lean, good protein, and eat vegetables, like a lot of vegetables, and a lot of good fats, like avocados and things of that nature. And it's like, well, he's not hungry, but then he got to a point, I think it was like 2-3 weeks into eating, he was like, yeah, man, I just feel so tired all the time. I was like, how's your sleep? He's like, oh, I could do better. So he improved his sleep, felt good, but not kind of really. Then I was like, how's your hydration? He was like, my hydration isn't too good. So, I told him like, hey man, there's some supplements out there that are sugar-free and have like the necessary potassium and things inside. Because drinking water is not enough. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I'm good again. Like I feel much better. And then also I think one thing that I've noticed when working with him is just the real thing is like, bro, he was like, yo, like I really just, he was real with me. He's like, yo, bro, I'm just thinking of scrapping this all, just buying a box of pizza and just eating it, right? So I was like, hey man, like you could if you want, but like the truth of the matter is that you've made a lot of progress and you're going down a road right now to help you. So I think at that moment, I was like he saw a side of me that he hadn't seen before, because I kind of like was talking to myself. Like I went savage mode on him, but not disrespectful. Like, what's the point of all of this if you're just going to quit and do all that stuff? Like, you're so close to being 300 pounds now. So now once you get under that, now it's, a lot of things open up and a lot of flexibility opens up. So, I was really stern and hard with him, I think, which was necessary at that moment, because it got him out of like, okay, just quitting. But then after that, I waited like an hour or two and I sent him recommendations for a cauliflower crust. And so it's like, yo, bro, you can still have your pizza, but just make it by yourself. Because I don't think it's healthy for me to neglect the fact that he had that urge, because not everyone has the strength to just completely put that aside. So if that's what you want, well, guess what? I don't think you should buy it because it won't satisfy your craving. But if you bought your own cauliflower crust and you bought your own mozzarella cheese, you put your own protein on it, it's going to be a lot better than if you didn't, like if you just bought pizza outside, because that can go on another binge. And I was like, yo, bro, wings are, you can go to a wing spot and go crazy, like, because it's mainly protein. Some of them put a little bit of sugar on it and stuff like that.
They're fried though.
Yeah, it's fried, but it's still, again, it still will be better than having pizza, Chinese food, like having a full day or a full week.
There's places that fire, like wood fire wings.
Wood fire wings, yeah. But it's like, I mean, there's so many things that you could do to to do that. And there's certain crutches he has now, because before he was eating so unhealthy that like just by eating real whole food, he's already naturally going to start losing weight. And by me upping his protein, every time he sends me a picture of whatever he's eating, I'm like, you can eat more protein. It's like, he's just going to be fuller. So he's not going to want to eat. And then it's like, the weight's going to come off. So I'm very confident that if, this individual just continues to lean into whole, single ingredient foods, like they will see a big change in their lifestyle. And it's also going to be something that's sustainable. And it's not saying that they can't never eat carbs before, but what I've noticed is that high protein, low carbohydrate diets for people who are morbidly obese is very effective in terms of weight loss, because even if they may not be losing fat right away, I think because carbohydrates have a lot of water inside, so a lot of the excess of water they may pee that inflammation, they pee that out first, and then the next part would be proper hydration. But seeing that scale move down motivates them to eventually think you know what, maybe I'll start working out. Like I texted him last week and I was like, hey man, you should consider, and I put it in all capitals, light exercise, like LIGH, like very big, like bro,
go for a walk.
Like just do something bro, it's not even a walk. Like he can wake up in the morning, do 25 air squats, 5 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, right, in the morning, do it halfway through the day and at night. Like that, I'm thinking of something even that simple. Like it's crazy how little you have to do to like
in the beginning, if you're not doing anything, it's just
especially
it could be like, okay, park your car further away from the office so you walk
100%, dude.
Elevator. It's
100%.
It's those little minute things
that you're doing every single day.
Yeah, because like again, people think like, and that's what I think a lot of people they have a New Year's resolution
and they go really hard.
They go to the gym 5-6 days a week and they kill themselves for an hour versus just 2 days ago they haven't gone to the gym in 60 days, not even 1 day a week.
100%.
So it's like, what's realistic? Again, it's that sprint versus marathon approach.
Yeah.
And it's tough though because like you just want like, I want to be in shape. I want to be healthy. I want to eat what you want to like do all this, but it's like if you just go 0 to 100, most people that's not going to be sustainable.
100%. And then I also think like as a human being, you also have to understand that like there's certain times where like I don't know, you're not going to be perfect, but that's not like if you slip up, that's not an opportunity now for you to completely go off the rail and let loose completely. So like for example, it's like
double or nothing mentality.
Exactly, double or nothing. Yeah, it's like all right, man, like you're really craving something, like all right, find a healthy alternative to it. Or even if you did get that thing that's unhealthy, get a single item, even if it's more expensive. Like go if you want Costco pizza, don't buy a whole pizza at Costco for $9. Spend $3 on the one slice. And and after that, like just walk out of there. Like now you have to like find something else to eat. Like don't eat a whole pie, because if you eat a whole pie, that's gonna set you so far behind. And now you've indulged to the point in which you've changed your palate again. And then also just having that self-restraint within yourself to understand like this is a lifetime commitment. Like I'm not gonna try to restrict everything out of my diet, but in this beginning stage, there's things that I can't have because it's gonna hinder me from getting to where I need to be. So and for people who don't count their macros and stuff like that, you really have to like go really low on carbohydrates and just like avoid snacking by any means, because it's really gonna set you in a caloric surplus on accident, or not even give your body adequate time to process the sugars in your blood, or like to go from an insulin resistant machine to being more insulin receptive, because you're constantly just introducing things to your body.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of no snack. Like if you're hungry, sit down, eat a meal. Because I've seen my mom's side of the family, they're grazers. Again, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, but it shows they're grazers. Because like again, they're versus like my thought process. If you're hungry, sit down, have a full meal, have the protein, have your vegetable. If you are allowed to have the carb, have the carb or fruit. Versus just like, okay, I'm gonna have a piece of cookie here. 10 minutes later, another piece of cookie, and then you do that for a whole day. Especially people that work from home.
4,000 or 5,000 calories.
4 or 5 cookies versus if you sat down, just okay, I'm actually hungry. I'm gonna have a real meal. Then have one cookie. Versus just have 4 or 5 cookies throughout the day, not even realizing it, not even enjoying it, because like a piece here while you're distracted eating, like grazing. I think grazing is the worst thing, and it's very. Again, I see it with my family, and I see it with a lot of people. It's just like it's a common thing to have have the crumb cake in the house, or have the donuts in the house, or like have the cookie jar, like all that stuff. And again, there's nothing wrong with that.
But you have to exercise discipline. And I'll say for somebody who like has to have sweets, like you're just completely so fat, and you're not even gonna try. A good way to exercise discipline is like, all right, there's 2 days in the week that you can have that donut. Before you have that donut, if you're a woman, have 35 grams of protein,
It's twofold.
Yeah.
Because one, it'll fill you up. 2, your insulin spike won't be as high.
And then you won't eat 4 donuts because you're already full. It's like if you're that fat that you have to taste it, it's like put yourself in a position where you're not gonna overeat it. Yeah, but it's like, all right, like if you can't even make that sacrifice and just be like, all right, as a dude, I have to have 50 grams of protein before I have that donut. Like, bro, you'll find like it's very hard to have that last bite of the donut after you've had huge ribeye steak, or 2 New York strips, or 200 grams of chicken breast, or
you might not even want it.
Yeah, you might not even want it at that point. But it's so powerful to do that. It's like, oh, you want to drink a Coke? You want to drink a Coca-Cola? All right, before you drink the Coca-Cola, wake up, have 4 eggs and a steak. And sure, go have the Coke. But like at that point, you're at least not gonna unseat a lot of the things you're doing. But like again, keep it to that one Coke, or change that Coke to a kombucha. because at least the kombucha is gonna give you some good probiotics in your stomach to assist you. Like there's things that you can do to not absolutely blow up like what the progress you're making, while not necessarily also allowing your body to go to that all or quick. Because I think as human beings, there is a switch in our mind, and not in our mind, I would say 80% of the population has this switch in their mind where they're like, I can't do this, and they just completely regress.
That was me for a long time.
Yeah, right?
I used to binge.
100%. So it's like, well, now being aware of that, how can you set up your life so that you don't have that? So it's like, all right, if you're craving ice cream, don't try to fake it or anything. There's two options you can have. Either take a Greek yogurt, add honey and berries inside of it, and then that can help you. You can try that the first day.
It's delicious.
If that doesn't work, then the next day go to the frozen yogurt place. Don't get regular frozen yogurt. They have like the plain one. The plain regular frozen yogurt. You can put peanut butter on it and like maybe some marshmallow thing or whatever, but it's like, well, before that you should probably have some protein. Like stop at a wood fried place, get some wings, and then eat that. So again, you're not completely unseating all the stuff you're doing. So like there's a way for you to do those things, but there's certain things that you have to do in process of that might actually end up you not having enough time to even get that yogurt. You might be like, oh, I'm out of time. I need to go back home. Or I don't even feel like eating this frozen yogurt anymore. Or I just dropped $25 on wood fried wings. I don't know whether I want to spend another $15 on frozen yogurt. Because I think, as a fat man that's losing, like, that's consolidating my weight, like, I also have to be understanding that, like, for someone to be morbidly obese, like, there's a certain level of addiction and, like, a regular food relationship that has to be addressed head on. And it's like, you live in an environment where there's people who may not necessarily, they might have bad genetic markers when they draw their blood, but to the naked eye, they look like in shape, right? So, they're eating all kinds of stuff in your house or things of that nature. And it's like, well, how can you partake and not feel like you're suffering all the time while at the same time not unseating, like destroying all the progress you're making? Well, then it's all about like having baselines. Like, all right, if I'm really craving ice cream, the only way I can have ice cream is if I have 50 grams of protein before it. Because
great principles.
Just have principles for yourself. So that once you do stuff like that, you might actually never even get to the ice cream. But even if you do get to the ice cream, you're not setting yourself behind.
And the cool thing is, I think with that is such a beautiful thing. Instead of like, I think good trainers or good nutrition coaches, they don't take things away. They just add things.
Yes.
So it's okay. You look at someone's diet and they're like, okay, a 200-pound male, they're only eating 100 grams of protein, they're only drinking 8 ounces of water a day, and they eat no vegetables. Yeah. Okay, so client A, we're not taking anything out of your diet, but what you are going to add to your diet is you're going to add 100 grams of protein per day, you're going to add 2 cups of cooked vegetables per day, and you're going to add half a gallon of water a day. Yeah. Everything else is the same.
Just keep it the same, yeah.
But you're adding all this. And then the beautiful thing is, unconsciously, they don't realize it, that they're gonna, especially if they're overweight, they're gonna probably drop weight because they're probably dehydrated all the time, so they're probably craving sugar or just tired, lethargic. They're not eating enough protein, so they're probably hungry when if they eat that. And then the vegetables, again, the fiber probably just bind them, so fill them up. So it's like, okay, I think that's a great thing to do is like, keep everything the same, but we're just going to add
stuff to you,
And who doesn't like to add stuff?
Yeah,
we're not taking anything away.
People love to add stuff,
And I think a cool thing is, too, is like most people's breakfasts in just America are awful, but it's like, again, start your breakfast, like, you could, have the muffin, have whatever you want to do.
Whatever you want,
But you're having 40, 50 grams of protein before that. That's the thing. It's like, or have those eggs, and it's like, well, I'm full satisfied. I don't even want the muffin.
Or even if I go to the muffin, I just want the top.
But you're also going to be so sad. So if you have the muffin, you'd be hungry an hour or two later. Yeah. But if you have 5 eggs and a muffin, you're not going to be hungry till like 12 or 1.
100%.
And you're not going to be, your blood sugar's not going to drop, so you're not going to crave another muffin at 10 a.m. You're going to be like, oh, like I'm going to go, like maybe go to, what's the place, like the Dig in the city or like Little Beat or something, get like a nice meal. Like it's like a grilled chicken, sweet potatoes, beet, whatever it is. Yeah. But it's so crazy because like people just like I think adding to, especially if you're a nutrition coach or a personal trainer, is the best thing. Because like if you take away, people feel deprived, but it's like, no, we're going to add, you're actually going to eat more protein, you're
Yeah.
going to drink more water, you're going to add more fruit, add more vegetables, keep everything the same.
Yeah.
We're going to add stuff to your diet. I think that's a great thing.
It's a very powerful thing to do.
Versus like, you can't have that ice cream. No, bad.
I've been thinking about that really much so, because I was like, bro, like, why was this bout more successful than other bouts that I've been trying to go, like, trying to consolidate my weight? Well, it's because, like,
you love ribeye steaks.
Yeah, exactly. I genuinely love ribeye steak, number one. The number two, I'm also understanding things to do. It's like, all right, just have a lot of protein before it. It's like, well, now if I crave rice, I'm going to have a ton of protein before it and just have a very little amount, because I've gone a long period of time without it at all. So now it's
Are
like,
you eating carbs again now?
I mean, not really, but like there was a day, like yesterday, for example, I had some rice, but like, it's funny, me and my wife, we got the same grill and stuff like that. And I had probably a tenth of the amount of rice she ate, and then I gave her the rest of mine, because I just didn't want it. I didn't even crave it that much. And it's like, I was full for so long, because I had protein before that, and she ate again later on that night, but I was just like, I'm actually good. Like, I'm just gonna drink water. Like, I'm good. And it's like, it's not that I did that. I think I went off like 2 or 3 days and just introduced carbs a little bit, because I saw that my weight was kind of plateauing a little bit. Yeah, and then also these past few days my calories have been low, so I didn't want to like completely mess up my my engine, like my metabolism engine. So I just threw that in there, because that would be a good way to keep my calories. It's still a little under where I need it to be, but around the same place, so that my body is not like plateauing. But now that my schedule is regulating again, like yesterday, Blakey picked up the steaks. It's like I'm going back on my regular programming and stuff. I have a ton of egg whites downstairs and stuff, so I'm gonna throw in the protein again, just so I can now enter the next phase of my dieting. Because like right now, I realize I'm someone who holds on to a lot of muscle, so like my training style, the way I train, like I've been building like good amount of muscle, like even my sister noticed, like when she was like, dude, like you're getting strong, like there's veins on your shoulders, all that stuff. I was like, yeah, I know I'm so fat.
Your chest is like tight.
It's tightening up. Everything is getting tightened up.
That's why you look so much leaner, because you're gaining muscle.
But the weight is still like,
which is not a bad thing.
Which is not a bad thing. Yeah, it's I'm doing a recomp at 360, which is
I'd be curious if I can bring it back.
The fat is
See, that is. I bet it's down probably like 36.
But I'm recomping at a much higher weight, so I'm like so
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and of course. But I also want to be mindful of like the opportunity that I have, because like from now till like June.
Are you walking?
No, I'm not. Absolutely, bro. I still have not like my cardio. I understand, but I'm just saying like my cardio, because I just don't want to. Like,
I know, why not?
I want to be honest with you.
You don't like walking?
I just genuinely.
You want to take like the baby, like
it's funny.
You get the nice little car, go outside.
It's so
you don't
funny.
like walking?
It's so funny. Like I just haven't done that. Like
that's so interesting.
That has something, and it's interesting how much weight I've lost by not doing that, because it really has made me trust the process, because I have literally just been lifting heavy.
You should really schedule like hang out with friends. Like we're gonna go for a walk in the park. Like that's what we do. Next time if we hang out, we're like
we'll just go walk. We'll go walk.
We'll go like meet at a park and just.
But it's so funny.
We'll do a walking podcast.
Yeah, but it's cool, because I realize like I haven't even introduced this. And
walking
of course. I know. I believe
it's cool.
But that's the thing. The cool thing is I'm seeing the progress without doing any of that.
Just walk. It's not even.
Yeah, I know.
Bro, once you start walking, if you just go for like 2.
But I'm the type of person that like when I want to do something, I want to do it out. I don't want it to be something that I just do for a short period of time.
I respect.
I'm trying to figure out how to integrate it to my life. Like
walking?
Genuinely. Yeah.
You don't. It's so interesting. Like after a meal, you won't go for one. No.
That's
so interesting.
You're like, dude,
I'm flabbergasted. Yeah, walking, because like it's just beyond the health benefits of like it does help with weight loss, but like the mental of getting outside, especially when the weather's getting nicer. You get outside, the fresh air, the sun, digestion.
Nothing beats it.
Especially in like 2 ribeye steaks.
Yeah.
Tell me how you feel after eating ribeye steaks
and walking
and go for a walk, 10-minute walk. It doesn't feel long.
They're not.
That was such a game changer for me. It's like usually my biggest meals at night, and I used to feel heavy. Now I like even last night. I'm lucky I have an assault bike in my house. So like I either go for a walk or I rode the assault bike for 13 minutes. I'm fine.
That's crazy.
I don't feel heavy. Like, and I mean I had like 1,500 calories.
That's wild.
Like I had like over a pound and a half of meat. I had a giant sweet potato. I had raw carrots. I had some berries.
Do they deliver the assault bike home, or is it sold at Costco? Maybe that's what I need to get. I need to get an assault bike.
Where did I get it from? I got it online.
That would probably be more realistic.
It wasn't very easily assembled.
I can still do family. I can still be around my family. Like I can continue to talk to
my
wife.
Like there.
I continue to talk to my wife and all.
My favorite. I think that's my favorite piece of cardio.
Where can I get an assault bike?
Go online. They're like, I mean, mine was like 500, but there's cheaper ones. There's ones like 350.
That's crazy, dude.
And I think it's the best one because, for me, I don't see the value in a treadmill because you can just walk outside or go for a run. So hey, my sister, she's a walker and she likes to walk on a treadmill. She's a big walker. Yeah. Like she walks like 5 miles a day. And like she walks at night in the basement and she talks to her boyfriend, the kids. Like that's her thing. She loves walking. She calls me on the treadmill.
Because you could watch a video while actually you can watch a video while on the assault bike too. Because especially if I put it downstairs, I can still have like YouTube.
Put the TV up right up and put it in front.
That's crazy.
I usually what I do in
what pace do you go at 13 minutes? Just
when I'm
cruising.
After I'm eating, I'm just cruising. Like I'm not trying to kill myself.
60 RPM or like 45.
It's just like moving my legs. Okay. That's the thing. The cool thing. It's not a workout. It's just
crazy, dude.
And that's it. And I'm just there and like sometimes I'm like.
And if I have that in the house, I can do fasted cardio in the morning too, on the assault bike.
Game changer.
Yeah.
And I love it because it's like so low impact. It doesn't hurt your knees like a run or anything. You can do it rain, shine, or anything. And it's cool because like it's not just the bike. You got the arms and like if you want to turn on. Do Tabatas on the bike. Yeah, like up high intensity and then bring it down.
Talk about cardio. I'm gonna have to do that.
I love the assault bike.
When will I buy an assault? We said $500.
That's a nice one.
When will I slide that in there? I think because I'm about to splurge this week. So I'm about to splurge.
But think about your health. You know,
I know. No. Forget about that. No. That's not happening. I've already made up my mind. So it's probably gonna be it's March. So probably in April. I'll get it in April then. I'll get it in April.
But
because I can walk outside. The weather's getting nice outside too. Yeah. So I'm just thinking of like
realistically. I mean, like last night, perfect example, pouring rain out. Assault bike. Yeah. I did for like 13 minutes. I was on the phone or I was answering texts.
Yeah, the first thing I see when I walk in your house is your assault bike.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's I think that's a piece of equipment. That and I think kettlebells for me and the pull-up bar.
You have a pull-up bar?
I don't, but I want it.
I was like, I didn't see that.
Because like I have an old house, so I'm afraid my doors
just break it.
I'm honestly like. I've been thinking about like just like in my backyard, like putting like two 2x4s and like putting a pole.
Or they have these equipment. You ever seen them before? It's like the equipment that goes up and has the dips and the pull up.
Yeah.
And it's like all weather is meant to be outside.
My neighbor across has this. I'm thinking
you might just get that. Yeah,
I might get that because my thing, especially when my season gets busy.
You might not be able to go to the gym.
But it's only 5 minutes away. I'm very lucky. It's close, but.
Or you can get a quick workout in the house, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's great content too, bro.
Honestly, all I need.
You may even get a gym. Like you may be able to, because you have a pickup truck, right?
Yeah.
You could like have like gym equipment, like.
And I have the TRX bands. I have the kettlebells.
Bro, all you'd have to do is create like a canopy or something.
Well, the TRX you can put a door, like a car.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that like the 2x4 that you're mentioned on doing, you can do like a wood and then have a sheet over.
At the outdoor one, I probably put in my flatbed. I probably could lay it down in my flatbed.
Or like I said, like you have an outdoor thing where like you have a squat rack, like just very basic, just a squat rack that could be a bench, and then you have the pull-up thing. That's all you need, like, and then it's just like a small canopy to cover it. It could even be a plastic canopy, so it's all weather. I don't know.
No, yeah. Honestly, that's all I need because like
single thoughts.
Push like all I need is just a pull-up bar. Cause everything else I got kettlebells, body weight push-ups, and then
you have weighted vest probably.
I got weighted vest, 90 pounds. That thing's freaking heavy.
Yeah, because kettlebell you can do lunges and stuff like that.
Kettlebell you do everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I have up to I think I have 2 25s, I have a 50, I have a 75, I think a 35.
So you have kettlebells.
I'm ready to go. I have dumbbells. I got this thing.
You have everything you need.
I have everything I need. It's just
and you might not even need to have a canopy because on good days you just put it outside and bring it back inside. That's part of the workout.
But I love going
to the gym. Yeah, social.
Yeah.
But I mean, realistically speaking, you have that stuff because one day a week you may not be able to and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Or bands. I have bands in my house too, so just like do like bands in the doorway, whatever you could. So yeah, and that's the thing. People like think they need the best equipment.
You don't. You just resistance. Anything to resist.
Or even when I travel, I mean, I use my like carry-on suitcase. I fill it with like books and like it's like You know, it's like our water, or even a case
You're
of
a
water
legend.
bottles.
You're a legend.
There's literally,
You're
and
a
I would hold it
legend.
like a goblet,
You're a legend.
like a Zercher, and just
You're
do
a legend.
and just do like a case of water bottles or whatever.
Absolute legend.
Oh yeah, I've hotel room workouts.
Gym workouts or prison workouts.
Literally,
Yeah, that's
and
legend.
most hotels have gyms, but it's like, hey,
of
like
course,
if I'm
it does.
busy, like 10 minutes, we're gonna do push-ups, we're gonna do body weight squats, lunges. I put my carry-on, we're gonna do rows, and just do a circuit for like 10
Movement
minutes.
is very important, man.
Movement's medicine.
Yeah.
I'm a very movement-oriented person. Again, even people that work from home, walking desks, like put like a treadmill underneath that desk,
Just crush it.
$300.
Yeah.
Right, it's great.
And you add to your mileage so high. You're right. So interesting, man. I love how we kind of touched all parameters today.
We can talk for hours. This is probably we're gonna call it this.
Yeah, bro, I completely lost track. I forgot that we were podcasting. I'm not even lying. I just realized. I was like, oh shit, we're podcasting right now. I'm not even joking.
I lost.
I got
half
so
hour ago. I forgot we were talking about. What were you talking about? You were talking about nutrition, like in your client. I was just like, and like talking about like your journey. Like I forgot that we were recording too.
I was like,
And then we came back, and I was like, what are you? Yeah. It's awesome.
That's crazy.
See, this is
leisure. This is why this is leisure.
This is leisure.
Yeah, this is leisure.
And I think we're so blessed that this leisure is going to be a financial lucrative position
100%.
one day.
And we get to touch people's lives as well.
That's it.
But you're so right though. It will be financially
Yeah.
lucrative. And then we've been very consistent in showing up. Like I think we're like what 15. Like 15
This is probably going to be I think this week was 14, but this would be I think number 18.
Wow, that's awesome.
17 or 18.
I sent Christina her.
Oh yeah.
Her AY. I sent it to AY. He was so pumped. So I watched it over too. It was so very electric. Like the energy was. It was very interesting to rewatch our podcast again. So it's awesome.
My friend.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Great one again.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody.
Guys, thanks for just being a fly on the wall while we just kind of
Crushed
enjoy ourselves. Dude, that's crazy. I completely forgot.